whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was terrific.
Basement Politics, Unfiltered, with Freddy Vazquez. Tonight, the Yonkers Tribune is top class. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight's episode, the Yonkers Tribune is top class. Tonight I want to talk about the news outlets here in the city of Yonkers and how honest and trustworthy are they? And can we rely on them to provide us and bring us the news with honesty and unbiased? And can we rely on them to be ethical, have integrity, and do their job if they want to call themselves a news outlet? Tonight, I want to specifically talk about the Yonkers Tribune. This is in regards to a recent article that was written about John Khader, president of MPAC, the organization known as Mediterranean Peoples and Communities, that does a lot of fundraising for candidates, does a lot of community events. They've done an event with me. We've handed out sandwiches to the homeless. One of the few organizations that actually reached out to me and assisted me in handing out food to the homeless population here that's ever growing in the city of Yonkers. Well, I wasn't going to do a show today, but I received a phone call from a gentleman that goes by the name of Johnny Limo, John Khader, owner of Top Class Limo here in Yonkers, limousine company that's been around since 1987, I believe. Am I getting that right? Am I correct? If not, just let me know. And it's been in business since, and they've been very successful. And Johnny called me up today and said, "Hey, Fred, I want to show you something. Can you stop by the house?" I said, "Sure. Why not?" I don't live too far from him, and I actually was on my way to the house to pick something up, and I decided to stop by and see what Johnny had to say. Nice house. Beautiful home. Beautiful home. Done well for himself. But there's nothing wrong with that. But according to the Yonkers Tribune and Hezi, Aris, his Hezitorio, seems to point out specific spending habits or expenditures by the MPAC or by MPAC organization that he claims to be suspicious. He claims Mr. John Khader is using MPAC funds to support his lifestyle. Is he? Maybe. I don't know. But that's why John Khader wanted me to come by so he can show me exactly what he has been up to with his MPAC organization, as well as his recent text messaging with Hezi from the Yonkers Tribune, the editor, and as well as show me some documentation, some checks to verify the spending and the specific items that were mentioned in the Yonkers Tribune article. I want to read the article to you. If you haven't already read it, I won't read most of it because it will just bring you in circles, but I will share some of it and point out exactly what it is that Hezi of the Yonkers Tribune is saying John Khader is doing that could be quite possibly illegal. Check out that beautiful picture there of John Khader. That's back when he had black hair. Although he has lost weight, a little bit more handsome these days. Okay, the article titled "The Hesitorial Urgency Eclipses Safeguards Required to Uphold Ethical Decorum" by Hezi Aris. Well, I'm just going to go down to where he talks about the spending. While the needy await for government to find solutions to their travail and despair, having little fiscal tender to grease the wheel of government, the more well-to-do, knowing how to play the game better than those in the lower socioeconomic divide, possessing the time to connive and malign government's efforts, such search for an unintentional fault lines that usually exist whether contemplated or not. It is they who too often perceive the hole left open by law that does not preclude their capacity to scheme and scam their way to unearned riches. Yonkersites, how do you say that word? Yonkersites, known in their gut that they need not search afar to find those whose conduct may best be defined as malfeasance rather than simply misconduct. Even though John Khader and MPAC have had questionable financials since its inception, the period from January 1st, 2020 to July 1st, 2020 had the greatest amount of questionable transactions. And he lists a bunch of transactions here. The numbers expose the revelatory facts. March 5th, 2020, MPAC issues a check to John Khader for $2,500. Wow. Oh, my God. Call the FBI. By the way, I own a few businesses myself. I've been fortunate enough to do that, and I've actually written checks to myself. So Hezi, you want to write about me? You can put that as well. Whether it's a nonprofit organization or a for-profit business, there is nothing wrong with writing a check to yourself as long as it's for legitimate purposes. Now, why did John Khader write this check to himself? That is what he should have mentioned, not just the fact that he wrote a check to himself. I mean, as the president of MPAC, he is working, he is doing things. But however, that specific check, and I don't want to get too complex with the explanation, was a reimbursement to himself for some money that he had paid out. Again, it's a little complex. However, it was very innocent when he explained it to me. Very innocent. He showed me the in and out of the transaction. It was a simple reimbursement, and it had nothing suspicious about it. There was nothing suspicious about it. I many times have written checks to myself as the president of my company. I am an employee of my company, and I write checks to myself, whether it be for salary, whether it be for reimbursement. Let's say I go to Home Depot or I go to Staples and I want to buy office supplies, but I forget my business card and I use my own personal card. Well, I'll go and I'll take that receipt. I'll write myself a check for the exact amount. I'll make a copy of the check along with the receipt and show that it was a reimbursement to myself, because I should not be spending personal money on the company. The company is a separate entity. And by the way, I will be discussing a lot of this in my workshops coming up soon, my financial workshops, where we talk about entrepreneurships and owning businesses. And this is all part of accounting. And then there were other checks to a Sabrina Khader, which is the niece of John Khader, and Lauren Khader, which is the sister of John Khader. Again, nothing wrong with that. If they do work for you, which his niece did, she created the book for the MPAC organization. I saw the book, very nice book, and he paid her for it. Do you expect your relatives to work for free because they are your relatives? Well, I don't have relatives like that. I don't even have relatives that would work if I paid them. So it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing illegal. And again, this is just simply an attempt to weaken and to stop the potential flow of funds to MPAC because elections are coming up. So the powers that be do not want John Khader being a worthy opponent. They don't want him to have the funds to go up against them in the elections coming up, because he has mentioned many times now, and I have repeated it, that he is looking to sponsor candidates. Those who are looking to run and are serious and are committed to the work involved, he will support you. If you come with $20,000, his organization will match that. It's time for change here in the city of Yonkers. So they're trying to scare anyone from working with MPAC or any candidates or elected officials who will be looking to be reelected from working with MPAC or allowing him to do fundraising events for them. That's what it is. Hezi is a tool. The Yonkers Tribune has now become a true tool. I have read some of the articles. I've gone back in time and read some of the articles that the Yonkers Tribune had written or had posted, and a lot of them I actually liked. I thought you were on the right track there, Hezi. You were doing the right thing. And then they hurt you. They hurt you with that judgment. When the judge made the decision that you were not a legitimate journalist and your page was not a legitimate journalism website, that opened the door for a lawsuit, and you got sued. $17 million lawsuit. And now they got you by the balls. Excuse my French. And now you're forced to do their bidding. And you're a source, a news outlet, a media source. You have access to a lot of people. And when you write things like this, you will then create the perception that Mr. Khader and his MPAC organization are up to no good, that he is utilizing the money he has raised to support his lifestyle. Well, he has shown me his tax returns, and I may be showing you some of this stuff at some point when I bring John Khader onto the show. We will be doing that soon, hopefully here in the near future. He's waiting for some things to get settled, but we will be bringing him on, and we will be talking a lot about everything in detail. Things that people do not know about will come out. And hopefully we will be doing this on the Yonkers Voice platform. And we'll get the interview out there to a lot of people. But he will be showing you some of this. I saw some of the tax returns. The business does well. The business does well. He doesn't have a private accountant. He uses, a company, someone who probably 99.9% will not lie for one of your clients when you have many other clients and you don't want to jeopardize your business. Now, if it was his own personal accountant that he paid directly, work for the company, I can maybe see how they may fudge numbers. And not to say that an independent guy wouldn't do that, because it has been done before, but not likely. Not for John Khader. So I saw the tax returns, and the company does well. Well, I mean, of course they took a hit in the pandemic. A lot of companies did. I'm in a business, fortunately, that even when the economy isn't doing well, I still have business, because my business is based on whether or not, their homes or properties get damaged, and someone's going to file an insurance claim. So as long as there's an active insurance policy, they will get paid, and I will get paid, and I will continue to do business. In case anyone's wondering, so although when we were locked down, I mean, it prevented me from going to get new clients, but I still had clients that I had been working on, and we picked right back up after we opened up. But I don't understand where this is coming from and what is his goal. I mean, I can make a guess, but I really don't understand why he would choose to target John Khader specifically for financial mismanagement or financial, illegal financial dealings within his company, when there's so much to look at within the elected officials. And this is why I wanted to talk about the media. How can you be unbiased? How can you report the news truthfully when you have elected officials and the administration, the city of Yonkers, paying for ads on your platform or on your page or on your site? That's why I turned down the offer. When I was summoned to City Hall, I went up there. I was honored. I met with two gentlemen, and they offered me advertisements. I told them I wasn't really interested, and they tried to convince me that it was a good idea. But I knew if I took advertisements from the city of Yonkers and elected officials, that I too now would be compromised. And I didn't want to be compromised. I didn't want anyone to think that there was a possibility that I was not being truthful. And I have made mistakes. I know that people are now pointing them out, but I will correct myself. And I appreciate those who help me in correcting me, because I'm always willing to say I'm wrong. However, most of the corrections are superficial. Yonkers Tribune never fact checks, doesn't return phone calls unless the POS tell him it's okay. And when she says POS, tell him it's okay, she means his handlers. When I sat down with John, he did mention to me that the person behind the Yonkers Voice, I'm sorry, pardon me, Ruvros, not the Yonkers Voice, the Yonkers Tribune, is, again, a gentleman by the name of Zahi Jarris. But what's interesting is that Zahi Jarris is the first cousin of John Khader and Mike Khader. How many people knew that? Why don't we talk about the Spanos and the way they invite people to events and ask them to bring their checkbooks? The person writes a check and they allegedly give them cash. Is that legal? Well, if I write a check sometimes I've given people cash and then I've written a check and then I just kind of, voided the check and put cash, paid in cash, just to keep a record of it. I don't know if that's what was going on there, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cash exchanged. That is the reason why people like Tasha Diaz, Shanae William, Corazon Pineda, John Rubo even, utilize the system, the administration, and do what they want them to do because they need their support in order to bring in financial donors. So going back to the gentleman, Zahi Jarris, again, the name coming up, first cousin of Mike Khader and John Khader. A gentleman that has been, according to sources, allegedly behind the campaigns of Tasha Diaz, John Rubo, Corazon Pineda, possibly. Also was the former chairman of the GOP, the Republican Party, at one point, before getting caught up in the Ridge Hill fiasco. I'm not sure exactly the time frame, so excuse me. But ultimately, he was caught up in the Ridge Hill deal, where it sent him to jail for several years, along with Sandy Anabi, who, from what I'm told, was, you know, innocently caught up in something that maybe she didn't fully understand. You know, like when you don't fully understand the housing ordinance. And I'd hate to see that Tasha Diaz or any one of the lovely and beautiful black women on the council get caught up in something that they don't fully understand. Because I hear that the alphabet boys are in town. Yeah. I was honored to hear that they have been watching my show. I hope they like it. Bingo. BINGO. We are killing it 34 years. We have been in business 34 years. She's talking about Top Class Limo there. Yes, they have been in business for a very long time. Like I said it before in podcasts, I remember seeing the limos when I was a child. I was young. I was maybe like 10 years old, and I would see the limos, and they were nice back then. And, you know, as a business person, I understand, you know, the lifestyle that maybe John lives. And I don't mean in terms of the materialistic stuff, but I mean in, you know, having the freedom to work from home. You know, he was very upset by this. And I told him, I said, John, you know, you have to understand where it's coming from. They're obviously trying to build the perception that you are corrupt, that you are embezzling money from the organization, and that, you know, people should stay away from you because of that. And that's simply to weaken you and to keep potential candidates and officials from coming to you and seeking your support. They are concerned. Yes, the administration is concerned. They are concerned. I mean, they are even, you know, spreading the word that around that I don't know what I'm talking about. I have my facts wrong, and some facts may be wrong, but they're superficial. There may be a date. I may say 2019 instead of 2017, but the point of the matter is still the same. It's still the same. Now, going back to this gentleman here, and I'm going to show you a picture. Actually, I'm going to show you a video. Check this video out. I recorded this, might have been early on in the year of last year, 2021. But this was a very interesting video. Former Senator Nick Spano. That's awesome. So he's right over my shoulder. I didn't want to disturb him. You know, he's having a meeting, probably very important. Who am I? You know, I don't want to ever just interrupt anyone while they're eating. But I just thought it was amazing. So I'm going to pan over so you guys can get a seat. Look at Senator Spano as I wait for my food here. So I think it's an excellent thing to see Mr. Spano. There he is. Not a little older. Hair is white, right? And he's sitting with a gentleman, I think by the name of Zahi, who I hear is also very involved politically. And I think we all should just get involved politically, right? You know, hopefully they're, you know, discussing how to, you know, improve the city, improve the Westchester for the people who live here. And even those that are coming in. But those that are coming in are getting well taken care of. So, but the residents, the lifelong residents that have been here for a very long time, we are definitely getting this, you know, for one, you know, also adding certain days and coming based on okay, you see right there. Who's that there? Um, join me again every Sunday That gentleman right there is Zahi Jeris. The gentleman with his back toward the camera is his son Frankie, who's very instrumental in a lot of campaigns. In fact, there have been some elected officials who have thanked him for the work that he has done on their campaigns. And I've even mentioned that he will be instrumental in the way they govern. Thank you so much. I used to get bacon, but I'm trying to be a vegan now. You know, I'm trying. Well, there you see it. That was early in 2021. Nick Spano there with Zahi Jeris and his son Frankie Jeris, who I hear is quite the strategist when it comes to campaigning. He has helped several of the elected officials. They have thanked him themselves personally, directly. I have audio and video of elected officials thanking him for the help and the work that he's done on their campaign. He is also a ward leader, along with his mom and wife of Zahi Jeris. They're ward leaders, so they control, a good section of the town, of the city of Yonkers, when it comes to the election time. Now, what do you think they could have been talking about there? Could it have been the strategy to get rid of Mike Khader? Yeah, over some bacon, eggs, and toast? He's a spineless coward. Well, that's Lauren Khader, the brother of Lauren, the sister of Mike Khader and John Khader. Family's upset over what happened, and now it seems to be coming back up again. This article recently by Hezi came out of nowhere. I want to show you something, a text message between Hezi and John Khader. And it just goes to show the type of individual that Hezi Jeris is, the type of things that he does. And that's not the way that news or legitimate or ethical journalists with integrity should operate, right? They shouldn't operate this way. And I want to show you a text message between John Khader and Hezi just before the article comes out. It says, "Good morning. This is John at the top. Good morning, Hezi. I hear you are making an inquiry on MPAC a few times in different topics, which is fine. I would be happy to show you what you want and talk to you about whatever you like involving MPAC. I am available anytime. Have a great day." Hezi responds, "Good morning. I am not making an inquiry. If I go there, I would call you." And that was only 11 days before the article came out. 11 days before the article came out. Right? So what kind of a journalist does that? Why would he, not speak with John Khader and ask him about these allegations or about this spending before printing this article? When I wanted Tasha Diaz on the show and I wanted to talk to her and talk about the things with her, I reached out to her several times. My office sent several emails to which she did not respond. We contacted her office also via phone, to which we didn't get a reply. I've seen her many times in public, and I didn't say a word to her because it would not have been appropriate. Although I have talked about her on the show, I gave her the opportunity to come on and speak with me. I gave her every opportunity to do so, and instead, she avoided me. But John Khader reached out to Hezi. He asked him if he would be willing to go over everything. And he says, "No, I'm not making an inquiry. If I were, I would call you." And he didn't. 11 days later, he puts out the article. Why? Because he doesn't care about the truth. Hezi only cares about one thing, and that is making John Khader look bad, making John Khader look like a criminal. And I'm sure there's people out there that believe he is. And if there's other things that maybe John Khader was involved in, I don't know. But that's not the topic. That's not the issue, and that's not the allegations. We're talking about his MPAC organization. And from what I've seen, every check that Hezi put on that article, he showed it to me, and it was all legitimate. And the reason he contacted me was because Hezi would not return his calls or his text messages when he tried to reach out to him after the fact. And he wanted this to get out. And this is why I want to talk about the media here in Yonkers. How can we trust a media source that operates in this manner? He had no problems taking money from John Khader and his MPAC organization before the administration and the machine decided to go after the Khaders or Mike Khader. In fact, he wrote lots of good articles about John, praising him, gladly taking his money for advertisements. And now he turns his back on him and he throws him under the bus. Doesn't even give him an opportunity to explain the allegations that he set forth. And this is the very reason why he got sued. See, when I talk about something, it doesn't come directly from me. In terms, meaning the information is from sources. It's from information I find online or in my research where I have documentation to prove it. And if it's sources, then I will say it's a source and it's allegedly. But I always give the people the opportunity to defend themselves. I always reach out to them like I did with Ruth Walters. I didn't put that police report out until other news outlets had put it out and not prior to reaching out to Ruth Walters' office. I'm not here to cause trouble, as one gentleman said by the name of Jake on YouTube. I'm not a troublemaker, and I sometimes get my facts wrong. But the point that I'm trying to make remains the same. And I'm here to be an honest source of information for the city of Yonkers, because I believe it is important to have an outlet where you can go to and trust the information that you are receiving. You can trust that I have every intention of doing the right thing by the community, and that I have every intention in reporting an honest and ethical story. And I will always do that. And you can call me out on anything. I don't hide. My face is right here. You can see me. And I'm always in the community, unlike many of these other guys who come around when someone gets shot or someone overdoses, blast their face all over the place. And this is not an attack or to be personal and negative towards anybody. I'm just trying to make the point that I operate in a different manner. I try to have integrity, and I try to operate within a moral standard. I am new to this, and I am growing and I'm learning. But I know that this is not the way you operate as a journalist or a wannabe journalist or whatever you want to call yourself. And to those that are behind Hezi, using this poor man as a tool, I hear his health is not in the best condition. And in fact, some say he may not even be around next year. That's how bad it is. And yet and still, you have individuals who are utilizing him for nefarious reasons. The same way they're utilizing Tasha Diaz, Corazon Pineda, Shanae Williams, and they will attempt to do it to Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. I would say the way they utilize John Rubel, but he is a part of it. And I can tell by the way he smiles. It is all a game. Mike Khader would have been next mayor, and they knew that. Absolutely. In fact, I read an article just today where Mike Khader called for a better oversight and review of the YIDA. That's like John F. Kennedy calling for an end to the Fed. And we saw what that happened, what that resulted in. And we saw what the result was for Mike Khader. The only guy that was honest there, that was willing to work for the people and that was truly independent, And I don't say that because I know him. I don't say that because they pay me, because I have not received a penny from the Khaders, although at this point, maybe I should get a check. Make it out to Freddy Vazquez, LLC. But I report on my Khader because it is the truth. I mean, it's the right thing to do. And I have to report on it. And I have to point out these news outlets that are here to create a perception for individuals who have ulterior motives, who have agendas that do not involve the benefit of the city of Yonkers. And I have to point it out. I have to. And I utilize, stories to do so, like this one, because here's an opportunity now to show you guys, once again, the garbage that's put out and what happens here in the city of Yonkers. I just can't believe that this is such a large city and that we have so much, at the very least, unethical and immoral things happening here, especially within the city government. They should be held to a higher standard. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Then they have not been successful in court, so they are attacking his brother. They need to clear the way to figure out how to keep control on the city, the jobs, the real estate, and the people, just being a few. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because again, folks, what has the city of Yonkers government done in the past year? They've helped and assisted the developers. That is primarily it. And they threw us some pity parties, threw us some crumbs here and there, and we cheered like it was the best thing ever. How long did that food last you got for free? How fun was that event that you went to where they had face painting? All that and what? You're still in the same situation you were in. Because rather than provide jobs, they provide fruits and vegetables. That's not their job. Their job is to create legislation and pass real legislation with substance, robust legislation that actually impacts the community for years to come. But this is the game that they play. They worry about the developers and utilize news outlets like the Yonkers Tribune to attack people who oppose them. I'm waiting for my article about me, because I've been saying a lot. So I'm waiting for the article. And so far, so good. I'm still alive. But I do make sure I take the proper precautions. And I'm not concerned with my businesses. And neither am my wife working at the school. Because if I need to retire today, I will. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. And I've been fortunate to be in a position where I can say, F you. Come F with me if you want. Because I will expose you even further. Because there are things that I have not mentioned. And I will probably not mention it. Because it's not my goal to simply create problems, because I'm not a troublemaker. And it's not my goal to have a platform where I simply talk about gossip or bochinche. Although there's some interesting that you would like to hear, I'm sure. Text messages, emails, and pictures that I'm sure people will love to see. Because there are mistresses out there. There are illegitimate children out there. But that's all I'll say. So, Hezi, if you want to write garbage, there you go. You can talk about that. But if you're in a position where you can't do anything else but the bidding of the administration and attack individuals who are simply private citizens who have small businesses, who are trying to just live their life and have done more for the community than you have, because all you do is cause division. Your page creates and spews toxicity. Have you seen the comments on the Yonkers Tribune? Disgusting. And you can comment anonymously. So then people develop the balls to say things that they would not normally say if they had to identify themselves. Right? But you can also see the frustration among a lot of people in the city who are tired of the same old nonsense and are ready for change. Are ready for change. Like Shanae Williams said when she opposed Councilwoman Tasha Diaz's appointment as majority leader. The majority leader meets with the mayor and the commissioners. They are tasked with reporting back to the rest of the council members, communicating what was said in the meetings effectively. Communication is key. Effectively communicating in that position is key. She clearly showed us that she did not understand the housing ordinance. So my concern is, what else will she not understand? And when they put her there in that meeting where the other council members will not be at and tell her what it's going to be happening, will she clearly communicate that to the rest of the council? They put someone in there that they can easily get through or push things through. And they're probably going to let her be the one who presented it. She's going to be excited about that, and then she's going to take the fall later on. Because instead of reading the ordinances and coming up with legislation to present, seeing what really needs to happen here in the city of Yonkers, she's out there at Serrata Park or now in Chicken Island giving out food for hours a day. That's not your job. It's not your job. I'm sorry. I appreciate it. Keep doing it. Delegate it to someone else. That's not your job. And who's calling me on Facebook? It's not your job. Now, recently, also in this whole shifting around at the Yonkers City Hall, the Yonkers Rising, Dan Murphy, editor of the Yonkers Rising, as well as the Yonkers Times, was named the official news paper or news source of the city of Yonkers. And I have had a conversation with Dan Murphy. I appreciate the words that he gave me words of encouragement. He said he, appreciated what I was doing and really liked what I was doing. Had a lot of great points. And in fact, I even brought up some stuff that he did not know. And it seemed to be a good guy from the conversation. But again, my concern is being named the official newspaper of the city of Yonkers. What will that mean for your reporting? What would that mean for your reporting? You're going to have to play by their rules. And who's they? I mentioned they a lot. Who do you think runs the city of Yonkers? Who do you think runs the city of Yonkers? Who's in charge of the city of Yonkers? Somebody, I want an answer. Give me names. Take a guess. Take a guess. Who's in charge of the city of Yonkers? Who runs it? Who makes who comes up with the game plans? Who's the one that comes up with the legislation, really, unless it's the feel-good legislation, like, I want to make, July 1st to the 20th, Big Toes Day. That's what they like to introduce, okay? Feet Month, all types of stupid things. By the way, why did they put, is it Italian heritage and Hispanic heritage? Like, you guys overlapped us in October. But who do you think runs the city? Oh, I got an answer from someone. Whoa. Nick Spano and the developers. Yes, you got that right. You got that right. Absolutely.
Game over.
You got that 100% right. Yes, Nick Spano and the developers.
Game over.
They run Yonkers. They run your elected officials. They dictate what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. They've been doing this for a while now. That's all BS legislation. Absolutely. That's all they've done. They've passed this BS legislation, killed the housing ordinance, and supported the developers in every way possible. Like I heard just recently, the zoning board was under pressure by the administration to approve a development, a project that's going up on Hudson Street behind the ShopRite over there by the YMCA. I wish I can get that kind of pressure put on the building department for my small business that actually will make an impact on the city, because people need daycare that they can actually afford. Not many people are looking for market rate apartments, luxury apartments. And that's what we're going up. So that's who runs the city. Mr. Nick Spano, through his Empire Strategic Planning, through his team of cohorts, James Kavanaugh, Wilson Kimball, who else? Who else? John Rubo, Tasha Diaz, Corazon, and Shanae. I think she knows she's ready to part ways. And I think she's showing some sign of independence. However, Shanae, you haven't done much either. District 1 is in shambles. It's horrible besides the developments. But have you seen the area lately? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And what legislation have you passed that has truly benefited the city and has made a difference? I mean, there's a lot of, different making of this month this and this day that day, and giving these people the key to the city and this, that, and the third. But what real legislation has passed? This is the way Yonkers operates. When somebody opposes the system, the administration, they utilize a guy like Hezi. They utilize them to attack people, attack those that want to make change. And that's why people who are truly, genuinely passionate about creating change will not run. They're scared. They don't want to get Hezi to write up an article about them. They don't want their business to get shut down. They don't want their wife to get fired from her job at the school, or their cousins or brothers who work at DPW to get harassed by Tom Kederman. That's a fact. That's currently happening now. A gentleman can't go to work in peace at DPW because his family member is running for office, and it's not his turn. And this is what goes on here in the city. And I just wanted to talk about this because if you allow Hezi and others to attack someone like Khader, they will do it to someone else who is trying to make change. And you'll never see change happens. If another person comes with an organization that wants to raise money for candidates to go and oppose those who are chosen by the system, they will do the same. So we have to stop it here. We have to stop it now. This is why I'm pointing it out. It's not about talking about Khader. It's not about hating on Hezi. No, I don't hate the guy. I don't even know the guy. I just know that he writes crap now. And he was writing some good stuff, but no one was paying attention. And probably because, Hezi, you put too much stuff in it. Keep it simple, stupid. As the saying goes. So, what are we going to do, Yonkers? Are we going to make some change? Who's excited about 2022? I am. I hear a lot of stuff is going to be happening. And they're concerned. I can tell by the way they're behaving, by the way they're moving. They're concerned. Believe me, they are. They are truly concerned. Why IDA is going to be investigated. Definitely going to be investigated. I mean, it's crazy. How do you have the chairman, Mike Spano, of the YIDA, his sister-in-law, the executive director, and an individual that was investigated for corruption once before as the president and CEO? James Kavanaugh was already investigated once for misappropriating funds. This guy was renting an apartment with New York City taxpayer money just so he can have a place to go and do what he needs to do. It was called the Love Nest by the New York Post. So what is he doing with our money here? With taxpayer money here in the city of Yonkers. The YIDA is the agency that gives these tax breaks that we hear about to developers. And it's primarily property taxes. Those are the taxes that go to a lot of the stuff that we utilize here in the city, like schools. And then you wonder why the schools are not up to par. Where's the money? Where's the money? Wake up and vote. What district in Yonkers has improved? Have you seen the deterioration in District 4? You know, I have not noticed that deterioration in District 4, but I have noticed a deterioration even in districts that weren't doing too good to begin with. But if you're telling me that District 4 is starting to deteriorate, then that's exactly what I've been saying from day one. It doesn't matter what side of Yonkers you live in, you have to care about this. You have to, whether you live in District 4, whether you're in District 5, 1, 2, 3, District 6, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you're going to be affected. You're going to be affected eventually, somehow, some way. These individuals don't care about Yonkers. They're going to be out of here soon. They got properties all over Florida. The Kavanaughs will be going off to Rhode Island, to their home over there. Some in Connecticut. And they'll leave Yonkers a mess because our economy is not getting better. And if we go through another shutdown, it'll get worse. And that means that 5 to 10 years from now, people will be making less money, more than likely, and they will not be able to afford all those developed properties that will be costing a lot of money. So will we see ghost towns near the water? What will that turn into? We got to think about that. They're rapidly developing these market rate apartments, but our economy doesn't look too promising, and people are already hurting. So I'm concerned. It happened in China when they built a bunch of cities and buildings to try and pretend that their economy was doing better and to stimulate it, but in reality, the people couldn't afford to live there. Now they got a bunch of ghost cities. YIDA is a free grant giveaway to club to the rich and those that support the machine. Simply put, absolutely. And the fact is that these organizations like the Yonkers Waterfront Bid, in the past you had the Ridge Hill Development Corporation that was had these issues with the Hossein Nabi and that deal that went on there. Then you had the Waterfront Development Corporation, which now became the Waterfront Development Bid or Yonkers Waterfront Bid. And at one point, Wilson Kimball was heading that up. Wilson Kimball, also of the Battery Park Authority, and involved in that whole investigation by the Inspector General. Now she heads up the Municipal Housing Authority. Well, let me ask you, Mrs. Kimball Wilson, do you agree or do not agree that we need more housing? And what do you say about it? Because I haven't heard a word from you. I haven't heard a word from you about the housing crisis that we're facing here in Yonkers and what you plan on doing or what you are doing. And how is that money being spent that these developers put into the Affordable Housing Trust? Where's that money at? Can we see some documentations on how that money's spent? And hey, Hezi, if you want to look through financials, why don't you look through the records of the YIDA? Look at the records, look at the financials. Where is the money from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund going? Show us those records. We love to look at those. I love to look at those because one of the hardest things to find is any financial documentation in the city of Yonkers. They do not keep records all that well. And it's a little bit suspect that the auditors are the same auditors that audit everybody. YIDA, City of Yonkers, the Grainstone Foundation, some of these developers, the Waterfront Bid. It's crazy. It's crazy. What about Lakeisha Bellamy? Does she get a federal? I'm sorry, what does that mean? Does she get a federal? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Expand on that question. Not happening. I can promise you that. Talking about the fourth term, there is a conversation going on or talk around the town that the mayor may actually seek a fourth term. And that is why you have someone like Tasha Diaz named majority leader for this very reason. By the way, they created a new position for John Rubo. It's called the majority whip. How appropriate. What about Bellamy? Does she get any federal money in her paycheck? Was it against the law for her to run office and be employed by Municipal Housing Authority of the City of Yonkers? Well, I have spoken to Lakeisha Collins Bellamy regarding that, and she said, according to her attorneys, no, there was no conflict of interest there, and she was completely able to have the position and get paid by both. But again, that's according to her attorneys. I'm not an attorney and I'm not well versed in that, but that's something to look into if it's an issue. Why hasn't the mayor had a state of the city for the last several years? Yeah, that's true. I think he spoke a few times on the Yonkers Voice. COVID really not acceptable. We demand an accounting. When is it going to happen in 2022? Absolutely. When is Thomas P. DiNapoli going to come down and audit the city of Yonkers, audit the YIDA? When is Letitia James going to come down and investigate all these positions that these individuals have who keep going from one position to the next within the city? I can show you stories upon stories regarding waterfront development corporations because they have them throughout the country. These are basically corporations that are nonprofits set up for individuals to enrich themselves, developers to enrich themselves while corrupting politicians. Nick Spano got a hell of a hustle. He's been doing it all over, all up and down the state of New York. He, uses this guy, James Kavanaugh, to infiltrate. Did it in the town of Eastchester, then down in Battery Park, now here in the city of Yonkers. And why is the city selling property to individuals for less than market value? Just saw that today, a property on Nepperhan that the YIDA sold to a gentleman by the name of John Gizzy. Gizzy and the Gizzy family owned the Eco company, ECCO, and the property was worth at the time, according to documents, $22,000, and it was sold to him for $10,000. That's a $12,000 savings. Could have used laptops. Majority whip of what? Is there a salary increase involved? Yes. Everyone who's got a majority leader, minority leader, Breen, they got salary increases. They all got salary increases. So whether you're getting money under the table or not, you're still getting money. They're still giving you money for that decision. And that money is through an increase in salary just by getting that position, just by having everyone make sure that you got into that position. Shanae Williams has nothing to lose. Of course, she's going to go ahead and oppose it at this point. She's ready to move on. I'm sure she's tired of the nonsense. She's a pretty smart girl, I can tell. And she's surrounded by those who may not be at her intellectual level. And she sees it. And she's not all for it. But however, I also see someone who likes to look at themselves, who likes to have this title and feels good about that more so than actually doing something in the community. You say you're passionate. She does. She seems like it. She speaks well. But that's it. How is Bellamy keeping 2 full-time jobs and 2 salaries? City council and at housing. Not equitable or ethical. Is the city council position a full-time job or is that a part-time position? I'm not sure. I thought it was a part-time position. Mayor has no real good news to report. That's why, except for property tax increases coming soon. Yes, John Limo's been mentioning that many times now. And yeah, they are. Water bills going up. Everything's going to go up. You're going to have to increase the taxes in order to supplement the cost of the increase in population here in the city of Yonkers that now utilizes a lot more resources, a lot more utilities. And if they're not going to be paying property taxes because they're renters and the owners of the developments are not going to be paying their fair share of property taxes, they're going to have to supplement that somehow. It's going to have to be supplemented. And where's that money going to come from? You. Jane and John's resident of Yonkers. That's right. That's who will be making up the difference. So unless we get out there and get more involved and get, get the votes, we have to take control of the city. We have to take the city back. We can't allow to have these news outlets that call themselves the news outlets, writing articles and creating perceptions that are not real. This is not about John Khader, but it's about news outlets here in the city of Yonkers in general. When you're accepting advertisement money or any other, benefit or reward or prize or whatever you want to call it, or compensation from the city itself, how can you be completely unbiased? How can you report the truth? How can you be ethical? Especially with an administration and a city government like the one here in the city of Yonkers, where you are expected to write the way they want you to write and report the way they want you to report. Otherwise, you're not going to get that anymore. You're not going to get that anymore. Before I go, there was one thing I want to show you really quick. John Limo, again, speaking with him, he did mention a lot of the activities and community events that his organization does. And I wanted to mention that and just kind of show some stuff because, it's very important to him. I think that he felt, a bit hurt by the fact that Hezi, didn't come to him and ask him questions first. Especially after he had texted him and asked him if he wanted to speak, only 11 days before the article came out. And also because he feels he's trying to do something in the community. Everyone has an agenda. I don't care who you are. You have an agenda, doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you a bad person. It all depends on what that agenda is and ultimately what you accomplish. This is one of the MPAC dinners, one of the many events that he does for officials.
The gala chairwoman for this evening, for this very
Do you recognize the
special
gentleman
MPAC
talking?
welcome, an administrator with the Yonkers Public Schools and a member of the MPAC Executive Committee. Let's give a nice round of applause to Ms. Sandy Khader.
Good evening.
Called the Sandy Hot Dog.
Thank you for joining us.
That's kind of the things that John Khader and his MPAC organization does. They put on fundraising events, dinners, which is why he goes to Restaurant Depot. That was one of the criticism faced or that Hezi levied against him, or when he was presenting his financials, his spending with MPAC organization. But he has to buy things to put on these events that serve food. You see Nader Sage there. Nader Sage is one of the people on the list of potential candidates for mayor. He currently is the assemblyman and also has his office is right there in Getty Square. So pay him a visit, say hello. I did see Tasha Diaz one day coming out of his office. Apparently she was, bringing out tables that she was going to use in her food distribution that day. And I didn't even interrupt her. She did see me and she went inside and waited till I guess I left because she didn't come back out for a while. But I was not going to come out there and, I wasn't going to jump out and do some guerrilla tactic type of reporting. Now, this is the MPAC page, and you see many of the events that John Khader does, and this is what a lot of the money that he raises goes to. And again, it wasn't, anything really, suspicious, any of the checks. It's so really kind of really superficial. It just, to me, it seems like he's only trying to create a perception because, again, this is all about the elections coming up, specifically the election for mayor. And many of the individuals here were once friends with many of the individuals who are now targeting the Khaders were chummy at one point, and we're enjoying the funding that MPAC was bringing them. Karen Elizabeth Marie, well, that's my question. My understanding is that the council positions are part-time with the exception of the president, which is full-time. Yeah, okay, maybe so. I don't know 100% if the president position was full-time. I always thought it was a part-time position, but that is a good point. If you have a full-time position as a city council president, how can you operate or do your job as the, in the city, the housing authority, which is also a full-time job? But I think all of it, all the council people, regardless of what district you represent, is a full-time job. I mean, I think to me that should be something that you work on every day. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that needs to be, addressed here in the city of Yonkers, and it has to be, I would imagine, something that you do on a full-time basis. Again, one of the complaints for Shanae Williams against Tasha Diaz was that she didn't present legislation. She was barely in the conversation, although she complained that she was not given a seat at the table. As tough as she is, you should have muscled your way in there, right? Anyway, thank you for joining me. It's Freddy Vazquez. I did want to just talk a little bit about the news outlets there, and just be careful what you read. And think about why these individuals writing these articles. And you can see by the comments that there are individuals who have agendas that are behind these articles. And in fact, I hear sometimes that the replies are not even from Hezi, even though they say Hezi. And if that's true, then that's just more evidence of the type of individual that you're dealing with. Again, not all comments are get through. I know I've made comments that weren't posted, so he picks and chooses which comments he wants to put on there. And again, just be wary of what you read. Hopefully Dan Murphy and the Yonkers Rising, which I did get an article, or I did get a paper today on Palisade at one of the stores there, remains, true to the journalistic art form, and, shows integrity and upholds, the morals and values of a good journalist. Now that he's given the official newspaper position, we'll see. I doubt any of the reporting, however, will be too scandalous, as he has to play the game. And I get that. So just be wary. If you want the honest truth, if you want it raw, if you want it real, if you want it unbiased. The only place for that here in the city of Yonkers is on Basement Politics. Also, the newly created Citizen Report, which will discuss anything not having to do with politics necessarily, but that require some investigation and reporting, like specifically COVID-19 and the vaccinations and the mandates and masks and all that good stuff, which is not necessarily so political. We will be reporting it, or I will be reporting on there. When it comes to politics and the raw, unfiltered, political opinions and reports and stories, it will be here on Basement Politics Unfiltered. So join me. I give it to you honest. I give it to you raw as I know it. My intention is always to do just that. If I get it wrong, please let me know. I will correct myself. I welcome the corrections anytime. I do want to get it right. Again, I do actually have a job. I have several. Actually, I have 3 companies that I actually run on a day-to-day basis. I do have a staff that help me. Yes, so it does give me some time, but I still have to be committed to that. Meaning that I may get it wrong sometimes. I may overlook something, but it's an accident. But again, please focus on the fact of the matter that or the point that I'm trying to present. Because usually the mistake is something superficial, maybe in a date or in a relationship to a person, but the point remains the same, and it's important that you get that point because it shows you just exactly what's happening here in the city of Yonkers. And I want everyone to see what's going on. I want you to know how it works, and we're going to slowly get there. We're going to, like I said, I'm going to slowly present it, and the audience is growing. So I appreciate the support, and more people are talking. People are talking. People are really talking, and it's crazy because I had some people come up to me the other day and shake my hand and thank me and wish me a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas, and they knew my name, and I had no idea who these people were. It was a family, and they drove around the block just to pull up and say hi to me, the kids and stuff. And so whoever you guys were, shout out to you. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Sometimes people come up to me and say, "Hey, Freddy Vazquez, oh, you got beautiful kids," and they mean well, but it's a bit scary sometimes. But I appreciate the support. Please share the podcast. That's how I'm going to get those numbers up, because again, it's about getting as many people to watch and become aware, and getting more people this time to come out and vote. We have to do better than 20,000. We have to. So, that's my goal. One last comment. Hezi was at one time a good guy till he allowed himself to get pimped out. Coming soon. Well, again, I think it all has to do with the position that he is in, with the lawsuit and the judgment by the judge stating that he is not a legitimate news source. His page is not a legitimate news source. And the lawsuit by the PBA president, Detective Keith Olson, $17 million lawsuit, really got him in a jam. He has no choice, and he has to do what he has to do in order to protect himself. He can't afford the lawsuit. He can't even afford to defend himself against a lawsuit, let alone actually pay if he loses. So he's going to do what he needs to do. And if they say attack Khader, he's going to attack Khader. If they say attack this person, he's going to attack this person. So, I got to understand it, but I'm going to still call it out. And again, that probably, like you mentioned, has to do with the gentleman, Zahi Jeris, who was there with the former Senator Nick Spano, convening there at Paxos with campaign strategist extraordinaire, Frankie Jeris, who also likes to make anonymous comments on people's pages. I know that's you, Frankie. I know you're calling me too. I know that's you playing games. I was actually told that you do that way before it started happening. So that's crazy. But it's cool. If you want to talk to me, leave your name and number, and I will give you a call back, and we can chat it up. So if you have any questions, actually, Jeris, Zahi Jeris, Frankie Jeris, that whole strategy team. I don't know what you call your company, your campaign consulting company. But if you'd like to come on the show, you can reach me at politicwithfred@gmail.com. I love to have you on. Your guy's name come up a lot in conversations I have relating to politics here, and I hear you guys are very influential. Your guy's name was brought up by some of the elected officials that are currently in office now. I'm thanking you for your support. So I would imagine that what I'm hearing on the street is real, is accurate. So that is my show for tonight. I went a little bit longer than I normally would do and like to, but I get to talking. Committee for a Better Yonkers shaking down developers using money to run negative campaigns. Precision Consulting. Is that the name of Zahi Jeris's and Frank Jeris's consulting company? Thank you. We need change in City Hall. Yes, we do. That's Alberto Vazquez, recently voted in as the president of CSEA, the largest union here in the city of Yonkers. Good guy. I spoke with him several times, and I look to do things here in the city, Alberto. So I'd love to meet with you, connect with you, and bring a lot of people together. I'm trying to get the Hispanics together and kind of on the same page here. We have to get on the same page, and I'm gonna start calling out those who are not willing to speak and get together and come on the same page. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to talk about what you're doing, why you don't want to meet, your little scams, your little schemes, your little money things, and all that. Okay, so join me or don't, but you're not going to be happy if you don't. Yes, absolutely. Let's do it, baby. Freddy Vazquez. Let's make change in the city of Yonkers. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not going to stop. Consistency is key. It's really key to success. So please help me do this. Support me. Continue to remain consistent in your support and continue to share. You have to share. You have to share it. Show these guys that you're not afraid of more. And you're sharing Freddy Vazquez podcast. Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics, Unfiltered. Thank you for watching again tonight. Another good live. Awesome. Again, it's not a whole lot. I'm not, one of the Kardashians or whatever. But for me, getting 14, 15, 16 people, live, consistent at one time is awesome. And it's growing because I remember when I was at 2. So thank you very much. And I'm sure that I'll be at 200 someday. So I thank you for your support. I appreciate you, guys. I know that you guys want to hear it. And by the way, I know a lot of people watch after it's live because a lot of people don't want to know that they're watching, want people to know that they're watching, believe it or not. So, my podcast will get up in numbers, but I like when you watch live because I want the interaction and I want the comments. And if you want to do it anonymously, go on YouTube. All you have to do is create a fake Gmail account, log on, search for my page, Basement Politics Unfiltered, and watch live and comment live. You can call me an a-hole if you want, and I won't know who you are. So that's what you want to do. There you go. That's how you can do it. Everybody, thank you for watching. God bless. Thank you. God bless to you too. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That motivates me. That keeps me going. That's the encouragement that, I love to hear and I need. And again, I'm going to encourage you folks also to get involved and to continue to support, and let's do this. Together we can do it. Together we can do it. Yonkers, New York, thank you very much. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Have a great night. Tomorrow's Thursday. Almost Friday. Have a great night. Take care. God bless. Good night. And a happy morning.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. We're gonna leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping. I was raised in housing. I was raised in housing. We're gonna leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
I was raised in housing. I don't think. No!
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Like I said, political games that are being played. You could apply.